Hey guys, what's going on? Michelle here from Nutrish Mish, and I am so excited that you're here because if there was ever a time to learn how to use food medicinally to protect your immune system, like this is the time. So, you know me, I talk about food in two kinds of respects, fun and fuel, which we'll get back to that in a second. But if we're talking about the fuel kind of definition, what nutrition really is, it's the tools that your body needs to make you the right way. So when you're giving your body the right tools, you get made correctly, and when you don't, that's when you can have some problems. So I'm going to go over the 9 foods today that you definitely want to start incorporating to make sure that your immune system is nice and strong and protected. But before I get into that, just make sure you hit the subscribe button so that every time I post a video like this, you get a little notification and you'll know before all your friends. All right, so first up on the list is one that you might not have thought of or heard of. These are Brazil nuts. And Brazil nuts are awesome because they have something called selenium in them. And whenever we see an increase in selenium in the body, we see a nice steady increase in immune function. So these bad boys protect your immune system really, really well. What's even cooler about them is you only need 3 to get pretty much all the selenium that you need for the day. So take 3 of these bad boys. You could see they're not super big, and that's really all that you need. So it's a perfect quick snack. It'll keep you feeling full. They taste awesome. I got these off Amazon, but you can get them Whole Foods, Trader Joe's. They're super easy to find. So 3 Brazil nuts a day keeps the doctor away. Next on the list is garlic. Now, garlic is huge when it comes to immune support. It's actually the only thing that's proven to shorten the length of a cold. Interesting. How does this work? So garlic has a compound in it called alliin. Now, what happens is when alliin gets crushed, that's why you want to crush the garlic to release it, a compound forms called allicin, and allicin is amazing at protecting your immune system. So it works a little bit better when it's raw opposed to cooked, although cooked still works, but raw is a little bit better. So I like to make sure I'm incorporating this in something like a pesto. A pesto is a super easy thing to do, assuming you don't just want to like eat raw garlic. I'm assuming that's not your jam. I hope it's not anyway, that'd be kind of gross. Anywho, pesto is super easy to make. All you do, take like a NutriBullet, just throw in some olive oil, some basil, a little bit of grated cheese if you want to, and your garlic, and you just bullet that up, and now all of a sudden, you're Martha Stewart, and you just made pesto. It's that easy. That's just one way to do it. You could also take garlic capsules, not as great, but definitely still works. So garlic is another one to make sure that you're adding to your daily list. The next two I'm going to group together. This is green tea. It's green tea from Starbucks, but still green tea. And these are blueberries. So green tea and blueberries, what do they have in common? They're both awesome and delicious, and I had both of them in my breakfast. But the real answer is that they are amazing when it comes to immune system support because they are what's called an antioxidant. And I'm sure you've heard this word before, but you're like, well, what's an oxidant? Why am I against it? Here's the brief spark note version of what happens, right? Oxygen is damaging. How do I know this? When you leave an avocado out, it browns. If you leave an apple out, it browns. If you leave a bike out, it rusts. So our bodies are no exception, but we kind of have to breathe. It's like a catch-22. So there's damage happening in our bodies all the time. And this can do anything from make us age a lot faster, which nobody wants that, all the way up to exacerbate cancers and warped and mutated DNA. Not good. So what antioxidants do is they come in and they kind of stop that damage from happening. So there's a ton of foods that have antioxidants in them, but green tea has a special one called ECGC, and blueberries are super potent in antioxidants as well. So incorporating both of those things into your diet regularly will really help protect your immune system and prevent you from annoying diseases that you don't want to have. So what vitamin do you think you'd want to have the most of for immune system support? It's not vitamin C, if that's what you said. It's vitamin D. Vitamin D is huge when it comes to immune system support and function. Vitamin D is huge in a million functions. It's called the jack of all trades vitamin. And the problem is we're all so deficient in it. And why is that? 2 reasons. One, there's not a ton of great food sources of it. There's like mushrooms and egg yolk and liver. I'm assuming you're not eating liver on the regular. So yeah, there's not a ton of great food sources of it. And the other problem is, while we can synthesize it from the sun, depending on where you live in the world, you only can certain months. Otherwise, the sun's too far away. So for example, I live in New York, so we can only synthesize vitamin D March through October. So it's outside of that, we're kind of SOL. Even though if it's inside of that window, if you're wearing any sunscreen, which you should be, sunscreen blocks the absorption of vitamin D. So we wear a lot more sunscreen now because the sun is so much stronger, but because of that, we don't synthesize vitamin D on our own, and we're not really getting it through food sources. So, you know, a lot of doctors, some of them disagree on supplements, taking them, not taking them. This is the one that pretty much every health practitioner agrees you should be taking pretty much in a supplement form. So I take our Nutrish Mish gummy vitamin Ds right here. I'll link them below if you want to check them out. They taste amazing. We did such a good job with these. They make you actually want to take them. Like, I don't think I've ever forgotten to take these. But any vitamin D will do. Just make sure it's from a reputable source. That's actually why I started making these, because there's no laws in vitamin land and people can make whatever claims they want. So I wanted something that I knew I could trust. So any vitamin D, like I said, will do. Just make sure that you're taking it and it's from a good reputable source. So vitamin D. All right, next up on the list, you probably have this one somewhere in your cabinet. It's olive oil. So olive oil is huge in so many health areas, but especially with immune protection, because it's what's called anti-inflammatory. There are some foods that increase inflammation, and when you have inflammation going on your body, very, very easy for disease to thrive. When you don't have a lot of inflammation going on your body can fight who it's got to fight and protect itself very well, and it's very difficult for a disease to thrive. So healthy fats are usually a great source of anti-inflammatory properties, just like olive oil or fishes, things like that. So make sure that you're using it however you're cooking. And easiest thing to do is just throw some on a side salad that you might have with dinner. You do want to watch your portions because it is 100 calories per tablespoon, but don't be scared by calories. We're going to cover that all in another episode. I have this every single day, and so far no problems. So make sure you're incorporating a tablespoon or 2 of olive oil a day. That will help a great deal. So what about vitamin C? Here's the deal with vitamin C. Of course, it's huge when it comes to protecting your immune system, but you want to know how to take it the right way. The problem with vitamin C, there's kind of 2 things. The first thing is that it goes through our systems very quickly. So if you take one of those like mega doses that has like 1,000,000 milligrams in like one little tablet or something, you're gonna end up peeing most of that out. And even if you don't, if you have too much at one time, it will give you diarrhea. That's not fun. So you don't need that much in one single time. The way that I've been doing this, and it's been so tasty and delicious and awesome, is I've been incorporating lemon or lime into my water lately. I've been on a major lime kick. Now, the other thing you could do if you really want to blow your mind, incorporate some mint into your water too. If you have mint and lime, it's literally a mojito and you're gonna be like obsessed with water again. If you try this, you need to tag me in it because it's friggin' delicious. So easy way just to incorporate that vitamin C throughout the day. The issue with going with things like orange juices is when you have a lot of sugar blocks the absorption of vitamin C. So you don't necessarily want to get your vitamin C sources through juices and things like that because you're not going to absorb what you think you are. So vitamin C, of course, is extremely helpful, but just make sure you're doing it in small doses throughout the day, not too big, and then you'll be healthy and you won't get diarrhea. Here to help. The last 2 are things I would probably recommend doing in supplement. One you kind of have to. One is oil of oregano. So oil of oregano is antifungal and antiviral. So if you can incorporate that in, which again, you could just find that on Amazon or really in any health food store, just a couple of drops, that is amazing when it comes to, antifungal as well as antiviral properties. And the second one is turmeric. And turmeric is a spice. It's very common in, Indian and some Mediterranean dishes, things like that. But the problem with cooking with turmeric is that it stains really bad. So you want to be very careful with your pots and pans when you do cook with turmeric. I prefer to take it in a capsule form. We do sell it in a capsule form, which I will link below. But turmeric is amazing because it's such a powerful anti-inflammatory. And if you go to some parts of the world, they'll actually prescribe that instead of some drugs when it comes to reducing inflammation. All right, so just to recap all the foods, you got your Brazil nuts, we got our blueberries, we got our green tea, our vitamin D, oil of oregano, our garlic, our turmeric, our olive oil, and our vitamin C. So easy way to incorporate all those in. Don't overwhelm yourself, little bits at a time. But remember, food could be super medicinal. So just make sure you're giving your body everything it needs and it will be very, very good to you. All right. Hope you found that helpful. Don't forget to subscribe and I will catch you guys next time.